Late one evening, sitting at my cluttered kitchen table, I found myself surrounded by stacks of unpaid bills. The anxiety gnawed at me like a persistent mosquito I couldn't swat away. My bank account was on life support, and honestly, I felt like I was drowning in a sea of debt with no life raft in sight. My credit card statements seemed to have become the lead characters in the horror story that was my financial life. In the midst of this chaos, a friend casually mentioned Dave Ramsey's name, claiming he was a financial guru who could transform my money troubles. Skeptical, I rolled my eyes. Another supposed savior with a magic plan. However, as the weeks passed and my financial stress grew heavier, Ramsey's name kept popping up in conversations and podcasts. I decided it was time to investigate further. After listening to a few episodes of Ramsey's radio show, I was intrigued. His no-nonsense approach seemed intimidating but also promising. The baby steps, 7 structured stages to financial peace. Was this the answer I had been searching for? With a mix of hope and doubt, I decided to dive headfirst into this journey, armed with a calculator and an open mind. The decision was made. I marked my calendar and began preparing for what was sure to be an enlightening and challenging 6 months. Little did I know then how much this simple choice would alter the course of my financial future. Hitting rock bottom isn't something you plan for, it just happens. For me, it was the moment I realized I had more debt than savings, and my bank account balance was a constant source of shame. I had accumulated a whopping $30,000 in credit card debt, student loans, and a car loan. With no budgeting in place, my financial situation felt as stable as a Jenga tower on a windy day. I remember the day I opened my banking app and saw just $100 left in my account, still days away from my next paycheck. Panic set in, and desperation followed. It was as if my financial life had turned into a money-eating monster, and I was its unwilling prey. It was time to face the ugly truth I had been avoiding for too long. I was living paycheck to paycheck, and each month it seemed that my expenses were multiplying while my income remained stubbornly unchanged. There was no room for emergencies, no savings to dip into. Every financial hiccup was a full-blown crisis, and I was exhausted. My self-esteem was plummeting along with my credit score. In that moment of clarity, I acknowledged that my financial habits needed a complete overhaul. It was time to confront my debt head-on, and I needed a plan, a guide. Dave Ramsey's baby steps suddenly seemed less like a gimmick and more like a lifeline. With a deep breath and renewed determination, I knew it was time to start climbing out of this hole. Launching into Dave Ramsey's baby steps was like starting a new fitness regime. Daunting, yet invigorating. Step 1 was to save a $1,000 emergency fund. To achieve this, I performed a financial autopsy, cutting out non-essentials like my daily cappuccino fix and impulse online shopping. It was surprising how quickly small sacrifices added up to big savings. Creating a budget was next. This was no ordinary budget, but a zero-based one where every dollar was accounted for. It felt like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole at first, but, slowly, I began to see where my money was leaking away. I switched to cash envelopes for groceries and entertainment, which was akin to pulling a rabbit out of a hat. Magic. The most thrilling or terrifying part was starting the debt snowball. Listing my debts from smallest to largest was like listing my arch nemesis. Paying off that first small debt felt incredible, like crossing the finish line of a marathon. Cutting up my credit cards was the final step of my financial detox. I imagined myself in a dramatic slow-motion movie scene, scissors in hand. With each step, I felt more in control. There were hiccups, of course, like accidentally overestimating my ability to survive without takeout, but I was on a path, one I hoped would lead to financial freedom. The journey had officially begun, and there was no turning back. The initial 3 months were the toughest. It was akin to adjusting to a new diet where cravings constantly tested my willpower. Social outings transformed from lavish dinners to humble home-cooked meals. I became the reigning champion of Pinterest recipes, meal prepping like a contestant on a cooking show, albeit with fewer ingredients and more determination. Gone were the spontaneous movie nights and weekend getaways. Instead, I found joy in free community events and hiking trails. Friends noticed my newfound frugality, often teasing about my master chef skills and my uncanny ability to transform leftovers into gourmet meals. The sacrifices, although hard, were slowly paying off. The early progress was visible in my budgeting app. Seeing the debt numbers decrease was like watching a dramatic sports match where my team was finally scoring goals. Each paid-off debt was a mini celebration. I remember doing a little victory dance in my living room when I knocked out my smallest credit card balance. Through the struggles, I learned resilience and resourcefulness. Creativity became my ally in finding affordable entertainment and joy in simple pleasures. These months were tough but instrumental in laying a foundation for the future. The journey was still long, but the first steps were behind me, and I was moving forward. By the fourth month, something remarkable happened. My mindset began to shift. What started as a daunting task was now a rewarding challenge. I discovered an inner financial guru I never knew existed. Confidence replaced anxiety, and I became a budgeting enthusiast, eagerly updating my spreadsheets and celebrating each debt payment milestone. The momentum was palpable. With debts being paid off systematically, I hit my first major milestone, clearing off $10,000 worth of debt. This achievement was a booster shot of motivation. My once insurmountable debt mountain was now a series of manageable hills. I was finally in control, rather than being controlled by my finances. I reached out to others in similar situations, sharing my journey and newfound financial wisdom. Encouraging others to join the baby steps was like joining a financial boot camp, challenging but empowering. The support and camaraderie from online communities and friends kept me motivated during moments of doubt. This experience was transforming not just my bank account, but my outlook on life. I was no longer a passive participant in my financial journey. Instead, I was the captain of my ship, navigating through the storm with determination and newfound skills. The first half of my journey was complete, and I was eager to see what the next steps would bring. Reflecting on these 6 months, I can say it wasn't easy. There were days I wanted to throw in the towel, give in to the lure of instant gratification. But was it worth it? Absolutely. The lessons learned were invaluable, and the mindset shifts were profound. I discovered discipline and the power of delayed gratification. Financial peace isn't just about numbers, it's about freedom and security. The ability to make choices based on values rather than budget constraints was empowering. The baby steps taught me to plan, prioritize, and persevere. It wasn't a quick fix, but a lifestyle change, one that I embraced wholeheartedly. Would I recommend this journey to others? Without hesitation, it's a path of self-discovery and empowerment. The sacrifices are real, but the rewards are life-changing. My financial stress has diminished and a sense of peace has taken its place. I am living proof that with determination and the right guidance, financial freedom is attainable. As I continue this journey, I remain committed to the process and the principles. The road to financial independence is a marathon, not a sprint, but the finish line is within sight. This experience has been transformative, and I am grateful for the lessons learned and the person I've become. To anyone considering embarking on this journey, I say take the plunge. Start with step 1. Save that initial $1,000 emergency fund. It may seem daunting, but it's doable and incredibly rewarding. Financial peace is within your reach, and the baby steps provide a clear, structured path to follow. You don't have to do it alone. There's a community of like-minded individuals ready to offer support and encouragement. Share your wins, your struggles, and your progress. Celebrate the small victories and learn from the setbacks. The journey is unique for everyone, but the destination is the same: financial freedom. Remember, it's not about perfection, it's about progress. Each step forward is a step toward a better, more secure future. Embrace the challenge and take control of your financial destiny. You have the power to change your financial story, and it all begins with that first step. So take a deep breath, grab a calculator, and start your journey. The road may be long, but the destination is worth every sacrifice. Financial peace awaits, and you're deserving of it. Let's do this together.